Benedictine is a centuries-old liqueur that was once created by Benedictine monks. It adds herbal depth and a honey sweetness to your drink. In fact, you might already have a bottle at home and are thinking, what the heck do I do with this stuff? Well, today, I have got 5 delicious Benedictine cocktails for you to try right now. To the bar. When you go to the store, you're gonna see 2 bottles. One that says Benedictine and one that says B&B. B&B stands for brandy and Benedictine. So it is not 100% Benedictine. For these cocktails, you're gonna want Benedictine. If you want a B&B, you can easily make that yourself. In fact, this first cocktail is essentially a take on a B&B. Number 1, the Criterion Cocktail. The original Criterion Cocktail was created in the 1870s, but it was soon forgotten because that original recipe was actually a batched recipe. It didn't even have a single serve option. And then later they came out with the fancy brandy cocktail, that was a single serve. Anyway, long story short, I'm gonna show you a single serve version that you can try for yourself right now. We're gonna stir this cocktail, so grab a mixing glass, start with 2 ounces of cognac. To that, add half an ounce of Benedictine and 3 dashes of Boker style bitters. This is a cardamom bitters. Add ice and stir, strain off into a cocktail glass, express lemon oil across the top, and there we have the Criterion Cocktail. Cheers. So we're starting off with a nice strong sipper. It's really pretty on the nose. The lemon is really nice, it keeps it bright. Shut up, honors, and drink. Soft. It's really nice. The cognac is a fruitiness. It doesn't have the punchiness of a rye or a bourbon. Very simple. 3 ingredients, right? And that cardamom bitters, to me, it reminds me of root beer. A little bit of herbalness goes really well with everything. Herbalness is not a word. Herbality. Herbaceousness. Herbitude. On to number 2, the Monte Cassino. This is a personal favorite of mine. This cocktail was created by Damon Dyer, and he won a competition with it. It follows a very familiar template, and that's the last word template. So you've got a base spirit, 2 liqueurs, and citrus. That's it, all equal parts. And this, I like this better than the last word. I'm just gonna say it. I think it is an outstanding drink. In a shaking tin, start with 3/4 of an ounce of rye whiskey. To that, add 3/4 of an ounce of Benedictine, 3/4 of an ounce of yellow chartreuse. Yes, I know this bottle is hard to find, but if you can get your hands on it, then you've gotta make one of these. I know you're gonna ask, can I use green chartreuse? But it is kind of There's one more ingredient to add. That is the lemon juice, freshly squeezed, 3/4 of an ounce. Throw that in there, all equal parts. Now add ice and shake, double strain into a chilled cocktail glass, no garnish necessary, and there we have the Monte Cassino. Cheers. Yeah, that's great. Man, it's been a while since I've had it. What I'm immediately thinking of is pineapple. There's nothing pineapple-y about this drink, but something to do with those fine monk liqueurs. This is something that's great about cocktails. You always can be, oh, that's my dog. What's up, bud? Best dog in the world. Where was I? There's something about the yellow chartreuse and the Benedictine that when they come together, it makes one monster monk liqueur to rule them all. I feel like these 2 monasteries should have gotten together and been like, we should do something. This cocktail won a competition for a reason. Boom, done. So now on to number 3, but first, a quick word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by ZBiotics. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. If you want to try ZBiotics for yourself, click on the link down below and you will get 15% off your first order. Plus, ZBiotics offers a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're not satisfied for any reason, ZBiotics will refund you, no questions asked. Feel your best tomorrow, and as always, drink responsibly. Thanks, ZBiotics. On to the film. Number 3, La Louisiane, also called De la Louisiane, but let's just leave the day out of it. This is a drink that is from New Orleans, if you didn't know already. Speaking of New Orleans, there is a cocktail I almost put on this list called the Voyager, which is one of my favorites. It really is, but I'm not putting on the list because This drink is a little lesser known, and I really think that it's outstanding. It's like a cross between the Voyager and a Sazerac. So in a mixing glass, start with 1.5 ounces of rye whiskey. To that, add 3/4 of an ounce of sweet vermouth, 3/4 of an ounce of Benedictine, 4 full dashes of Peychaud's bitters. I know some of you are gonna say, well, he's putting 8 dashes in there, but these dasher bottles are actually half dashes, people. 4 full dashes of Angostura bitters. I know, it's a very bitters heavy cocktail, which is part of the reason why I like it so much. Add ice and stir. Now before we pour this into a glass, take a chilled low ball and give it a rinse with absinthe. You can either pour a little bit into the glass, slosh it around, dump it out, or use a little spritzer bottle like me, little atomizer. It gets a nice even coat all the way on the inside of the glass. Then plop in a giant lump of ice, strain the cocktail on top of the ice, express lemon oil across the top, and there we have La Louisiane. Cheers. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. That right there takes me back to NOLA, which is New Orleans. No. Between the Benedictine and the sweet vermouth, you get a good richness, you know? However, remember all that bitters we added? That really counters it out. So this one, plus the absinthe, this one punches. This one is great. That's why I like this one on a giant ice cube, because that'll slowly melt. You don't want to drink this one quickly. Respect the drink. Know what you're doing. Just sip on it. On to number 4, Tip Top. It's got a fun name, don't you think? The Tip Top. I'll take a Tip Top. I discovered it in the old Waldorf Astoria bar book. What I like about it is it's a low ABV drink. It calls for dry vermouth as the base. I'm gonna show you the recipe and then I'll talk about it, all right? So to make this drink, in a mixing glass, start with 2 ounces of dry vermouth. Yes, dry vermouth, not blanc vermouth. I know I love my blanc vermouth, but in this drink, I prefer the dry. To that, add 1/2 ounce of Benedictine, 1 dash of Angostura bitters, and stick with me here, 1 bar spoon of a Fino sherry. Add ice and stir, strain that off into a cocktail glass, fill it to the tip top, express lemon oil across the top, tip top. Cheers. Right here. Woo! Those of you who are familiar with this drink, if anybody out there is familiar with this drink, the original recipe called for the Benedictine in dashes. It was basically just dry vermouth. I do like a little bit more than a couple dashes of Benedictine. I want to taste it, personal preference. But once again, if you are familiar with that recipe, you'll also know that sherry was not added in there. That was my addition, so don't be alarmed. But trust me, that's optional. This is good without the sherry, but with the sherry, yeah, cheers. Oh yeah. You know, this would be a great before dinner cocktail. It's not too strong. It is kind of floral. You have a herbal sweetness from the Benedictine, but it's not syrupy sweet. I think this is outstanding. And then, oh, at the end, right there, I'm tasting this savory, nutty finish. I always feel weird saying that. You know, it's got like this, it tastes like dried nuts, like a nice dry nut finish. Maybe the hand gestures aren't helping. I could drink this all day. I won't, because I'm not stupid, but I could. Also, take a peek. Look at that color. It's kind of like this blushy, I think it's a really pretty cocktail, I really do. And that's that 1 dash of Angostura bitters. Bring this one back, huh? Bring back low ABV cocktails. On to our last one. We're gonna take a sharp left turn here, folks. We are going to make a tiki drink. Actually, not traditional tiki, it's a tropical drink. Number 5, the Voyager. Now, there are a few cocktails out there called the Voyager, but this one was created by Robert Hess, cocktail enthusiast. I don't know if he gave himself that title, cocktail enthusiast, but if you look on Wikipedia, I think that's what it says. He created this drink, and I saw it on a YouTube channel a long time ago. I wanna say 15 years ago. I don't know, was YouTube around 15 years ago? It's something like, it was like early YouTube stuff. It was like still in like full frame, I think. He made this drink. In a shaking tin, start with 2 ounces of Jamaican rum. To that, add 1/2 ounce of Benedictine. Then add 1/2 ounce of falernum. Use a good falernum here. The best falernum is the one that I created in partnership with Portland syrups, so I would say check that out. Link down below, grab yourself a bottle, you are gonna love it. Something to note, if you are using velvet falernum for this cocktail, you might find it a little thin on the crushed ice, so you might have to rebalance, okay? Use the falernum that you like most of all. Then add half an ounce of fresh lime juice and 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. Now, if you have a blending machine like myself, you're going to add crushed ice and flash blend that for about 5 seconds. If you don't, add ice and shake, pour that over crushed ice, or even add some crushed ice, give it a shake, and open pour into a double rocks glass. A lot of different ways to do this. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Add a little bit more crushed ice and garnish this however you see fit. I'm gonna tiki-fy it. I'm gonna give it the pineapple fronds, a dried lime wheel, and a little bit more crushed ice. There we have the Voyager, the Robert Hess original. Cheers. Grab myself a straw, plop it in the glass. I picked the short straw. That's okay, that's okay. Cheers. Oh yeah. Tell you what, that falernum's pretty spot on. This is a really nice drink. First of all, Robert Hess, in that video, he used a gold rum. In fact, I think that's all he really said was maybe aged gold rum, but that's it. That is a big grouping of rums. So you, as the bartender, have creative license. That's why I went with an aged Jamaican rum. Personally, I really like a little bit of that Jamaican funk that you get in Jamaican rums. The Appleton 12 year is also just a favorite rum of mine, and it goes really well in the drink. I do taste the falernum, and I do taste the herbal notes from the Benedictine. I think it's a really great cocktail. Oz, would you like to try any of these?
You want me to just go down the line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rapid fire. This
Rapid fire.
is my version of the Criterion Cocktail.
Ooh, punchy.
Punchy, but not like punch. Now the Monte Cassino.
Very pretty. That is so good.
Isn't that good? Tremendous cocktail. La Louisiane. Yeah.
Love the absinthe.
We're 3 for 3. Tip top.
So pretty. Oh, yum.
Yeah?
Yes.
The Robert Hess Voyager.
Voyager, like Star Trek, or?
Yeah, actually in the video he mentions he's a fan of Star Trek, so maybe.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, it's
Yum.
good, right?
My favorites are that.
These, okay, so
Then that, and then that.
Oz's least favorite was the Criterion Cocktail, and by least favorite, it's like 8 out of 10. Okay, mixed with Benedictine. It's great. It is, I really do love this stuff. And I used a lot of different bottles. If you wanna grab any of those bottles, you know where to find them. House of Bitter Bear. That entire site is catered to the recipes we make here on the channel. Thank you, ZBiotics, for sponsoring today's film. Thank you for always watching. I will see you next time. Be well to each other. I've got more to say. I'm gonna talk about my bike. My first bike when I was 14, I bought a Trek 830. I paid $440. Can you believe it? It took me a full